Hello fellas, due to the success of the previous upload, I thought I'd do another video from my poll. So here is a ranking of all the Dinosaur King transformations. Coming in dead last is the only summon in the entire show that isn't one of the big 6 dinosaurs, being the Alpha Acrocanthosaurus. Technically, the Black T-Rex has a partial summon, and that would have been the worst one had I included it, but it's way too short and lacking content to even consider. Unfortunately, there isn't much to say regarding the Acro either. Its transformation involves it spinning in a circle and then striking a pretty wavy, stupid looking pose with no flair to it. It doesn't even start out as the standard Acro, being in its alpha form from the very beginning, nor does it have a unique music track. It's extremely forgettable, low effort, and unnecessary. Spiny drops in at the second worst position due to it being the weakest of the 6 main characters by far. Its music is neither exciting nor particularly fitting for its role as an antagonist or water dinosaur. Its background effects are almost non-existent, and while the bubble effects look okay, they're not attention-grabbing either. The pose isn't the worst of them, but makes it look wide and goofy, and doesn't do a good enough job at showing off its most important features. This could have been salvageable had they just presented it from a sideways angle. Finally, its animation also falls quite short of being anything good. It has the most unflattering leg extension of all the dinosaurs due to how disproportionate they look, and its sail isn't formed with nearly enough visual spice. It doesn't even lead into the snout, which causes the sequence to miss out on another key element to Spinosaurus' anatomy. Its longer arms and claws also get no attention here. Just a really poor showing overall, which I guess fits for probably the biggest pushover in the show. Ace the Carnotaurus is a bit of a highs and lows sequence. On the one hand, the animation is good, with the camera panning across the body as it spikes form, and then ending by showing off its distinct horns. The music, while not exactly wind-like, is still a lot more exciting than many of the others too. But the background effects are horrendously bad. I understand it's a bit difficult to show off wind, but having a few white circles spinning around Ace instead of anything more dynamic or visually interesting is pretty dull to look at, and it's hardly helped by the worst final pose of the Big 6, showing their lean, speedy animal at the most fat-looking angle they possibly could have, doing nothing creative at all. It's similar in its flaws to Spiny's and could have been fixed in the same way, by simply posing him sideways, so it's sad to see it turn out this ugly. Really ruins what could have been a higher rating summon. Chomp, or the Triceratops, has probably the most basic feel to its transformation out of any of the dinosaurs. Not to say it's bad, but it just feels very safe and standard, especially for a main character. The music is fine, the posing is fine if not on the higher end, and the background is also fine. Really the only letdown is the animation, just showing off the horns and not the frill despite it being a key feature. Even then, it's also not bad. The way the horns come out still looks nice, but they should have had the frill be part of the transformation as well. And there are definitely some pretty easy upgrades that could be given to the background and music too, like having some of the electricity strike the horns as if they're lightning rods, and using a bit more of an electrifying set of instruments. In the end though, it's just fine. Nothing egregiously bad, but many things to improve on. Paris definitely has one of the better theme songs, reflecting its role as the life-giving support by being more serene and somewhat mystical, while also not sounding gentle enough to make it come across as weak. I also like the floating leaves in the background as well as the way they whip around at the start. It's a pretty decent effect, ranking higher than others for sure. The pose is also serviceable, could be a lot more interesting and unique, but I can't complain too badly. Its biggest problem is the animation. The large majority of it is focused on all four legs coming out, followed by a far too zoomed in shot of its crest that you barely even get to see as it forms. Emphasizing the crest more, or even adding a shot of its front legs slamming down into a pile of leaves would have gone a long way. Otherwise it's good, but definitely not the best. I wasn't quite expecting Tang to rank so high going into this, but here she is. Now again, it's not perfect. The effects are its biggest weakness, completely lacking from the end pose like Spiney's are, and the rock effects definitely could have used more work. However, where Sarchenia really shines is in the animation. It does what the Carnotaurus did, but even better, considering its spikes are much more relevant to it as an ankylosaur, and the flowy tail movement adds a bit more spice. Its frontal shot is one of the better looking ones as well, where you can see just how sturdy it really is. I also quite like the pose. It's silly and fun and shows off its most important features well. Tank Summon is pretty good despite its obvious flaws, but there is one dino that does it better. The king of this list is coincidentally the king of the dinosaurs, Terry the T-Rex, which has a summon radiating with the fiery villainous energy that you would expect from the main bad guy. Its animation is one of the more fluid ones, with a flickering tail and a mouth that forms while wide open before snapping shut in a strong bite. It's the only transformation that doesn't include a spin. Instead, Terry stands there as volcanic pillars of fire burst out from the ground around it. The flame effect on limbs is simultaneously chaotic and pleasing, and I love how embers fly out of its mouth when the teeth form. It then ends in a big ring of fire that splashes into the ground and waves the flames towards the camera. And the theme is booming, imposing, and exciting, a perfect fit. This transformation ranks so high due to it nailing almost every aspect, with a lot of unique flair to boot. The only complaints that I have are with the pose. While better than the Acrocanthosaurus and other carnivores due to its more sturdy and purposeful stance, it absolutely could have looked better than it does. The camera also shouldn't have been that close during the bite. Otherwise, it's a fantastic transformation. And those are my picks. Let me know in the comments what your favorite dinosaur in Dinosaur King is, and thanks for watching.